Hello, spiritual beings. Thank you for joining me with another episode of Still Growing. If you're new here, welcome. And if you are a subscriber, thank you also for being here. I appreciate it if you, even before we get started, just go ahead and give me a like so you don't have to worry about it later. And then we'll just go ahead and get into the video. Now, today I wanted to talk about millionaire mindset or even billionaire mindset. Now, I'm not a millionaire and I'm not a billionaire. However, in order to get there, you have to start thinking like a millionaire. Now, this is not a secret. We should all know this at this point. So in order to get to that status in life, we have to make sure that we have certain habits that we're doing on a regular basis that is consistent, that's going to help us to get to where we want to get to. Now, this has to do with, as an adult, if you're trying to achieve a particular goal, or even as a child who's trying to do well in school, or it doesn't matter what it is you are trying to achieve. You really have to have certain habits that you're doing on a regular basis. So these are what I would call billionaire habits that have helped the billionaires and millionaires of this world to be able to achieve the things that they have achieved. I mean, of course, some of them just came into it, and some of them, and of course, I'm referring to those who have actually worked their way to it, not those of society who it was handed to. Because of course we have those people who have achieved millionaire or billionaire status, and basically they just pass it on to their kids and hold on to that money. We know who they are, and we're not referring to them because that's for the next generation, right? Once we make our millions, then we can put into place certain strategies to make sure that our kids do the same, and so we can pass it down. So for us making our first million or our second million or our billion, we need to have a focus as to how we will be achieving that, what we'll be doing to achieve that. So my first habit is visualization. Now, I know some of you perhaps have heard of The Secret, or maybe even have the video The Secret. I remember when it first came out many years ago, my family was one of those people who bought it because we believed in it, and we believed in visualization way before that came out. And that was just basically reaffirming what we already knew. So visualization basically is knowing that you cannot achieve anything in the material world until it's actually created in the unconscious world. And so you have to create for yourself in your mind what it is you want to achieve in order for it to come true. So it's kind of like saying that if you don't believe it yourself, it's never going to happen. So you have to really, whatever it is that you want to achieve is possible for you, because a lot of people want things, but deep down inside, they really don't think that they deserve it or that it will ever happen in their life. But you have to believe, because if you yourself do not believe it, then for sure it will never happen. So visualization basically is creating whatever you want in your mind. I believe, as a spiritual being, that everything is created in the spiritual realm, that everything occur first in the spiritual world before it comes into our physical world. So we really have to create it in that spiritual world first. Visualization basically is sitting and creating what it is you want in your mind. And not just creating it, but feeling it, going through the emotion of it. So number 2 is a meditation, or just spending quiet time together by yourself with your thoughts. It's something that you do alone. It's something that you do in the quietness of yourself. So meditation basically is just spending some time with your thoughts or just experiencing yourself. It can be actually sitting down and meditating, or it can be walking and meditating. And it doesn't necessarily mean that you're thinking. Sometimes you could just be, you could just exist in the quietness of yourself. I believe that you meditate just to hear yourself, to hear your spirit speaking to you, to hear what your spiritual being is saying to the conscious you. And if you're always active and talking and just always living in the conscious world, then you never can really link to the unconscious world and really understand who you are or what you should be doing, or just get direction in terms of questions that you might have. And so I believe when you meditate, it allows you to connect. So that's why number 2 is meditation. Number 3 for me, and I guess going forward, are more things that you may consider to be more hands-on. You can consider number 3 as creating, as opposed to taking part in things that is already created. What I mean in reference to that is in regards to you learning something new. A lot of time, especially for those of us who work outside of the house, you're so stressed in your work. And I guess this doesn't necessarily mean work outside the house, because during what we're going through during this time period, a lot of people are working at home, and maybe it's even more stressful working at home, especially when you have children. But the point I'm making is that sometimes we're so stressed in our life that whenever we get a few minutes to wind down, the first thing we do is turn on some type of electronic or social media or entertainment. We're always taking in information, taking in other people's creation, being influenced by what is going on in the world, when we really should be using that time to build ourselves. And so number 3 really is learning, taking that time to learn something new every day, whether it's a matter of a novel that you're reading that you just continue to read, or it's taking up something new that you haven't done. A perfect example of that is, I remember a few days back, I was, having it with my children. Why aren't you taking your piano lessons and you're playing and what have you? And, I have to stop and think, well, you used to take piano lesson, and why are you not taking it? Why are you not furthering yourself in something that you enjoy? I enjoyed it then. I wanted to learn it then. It just so happened that I stopped taking lessons. Why am I not involved in that now? So my point being is that there are so many opportunities for us to further ourselves and to learn new skills and to build ourselves up. But a lot of time we use those opportunity to tell ourselves that because of the stress that's happening in our life, we need to relax, taking in other people's creation. And of course, if you're relaxing, truly by having a nap or relaxing by meditating, that's certainly a different situation. I'm not referring to that. What I'm referring to is being productive instead of being a consumer. Okay? We're always consuming when in fact we should always be building. Number 4 is actually making a list. Now, this is something that I'm sure you've heard before. I remember back in the day, in the 90s, I think it was, that I remember watching Oprah, and, she would talk about her journals, and she would talk about always making a list and checking it twice, and I started journaling at that point, and I have gotten off it over the years. But it is so important to make a list. And now I'm actually referring to I'm not just referring to journaling, which in itself is so important, because putting pen to paper with your thoughts is very therapeutic in itself. Spiritually, that does a lot for you. But right here and now, I'm not really so much referring to that. What I'm referring to is making a list of what you intend to accomplish on a daily basis. I know a lot of people are doing that, but I feel it's something that's worth mentioning again and again, because I find that when I tend to not make a list every single night before I go to bed of what I intend to accomplish the next day, when I wake up, it seems as if all my good intentions are gone to the side, and I end up wasting hours to get back on track. So what I'm saying is that making a list every night or the first thing in the morning, whichever works best for you, making a list of what it is that you want to accomplish the next day is very important, because when you make your list and when you have accomplished that task and you're able to look on your list and cross it off, it makes you feel so accomplished. And sometimes I might have 7 things on my list and I've only completed 2 or 3 of them. And I still feel wonderful. I still feel accomplished, because not because I've so much accomplished them, but because I can actually see it. Because sometimes our mind plays tricks on us, and it makes us feel as if, although we've done a lot of work or we've accomplished a lot of things, we forget or we do not recognize that we've accomplished these things, or maybe we're just not as fair to ourselves as we should be. But when you're able to see in writing on a piece of paper what you have accomplished, it reminds you just how much you've done and how productive you have been. And the more productive you are, the more it makes you want to work even harder. And so my number 5 is setting a goal. And although this is my number 5, it really should be number 1 in your life, because there is nothing that you can accomplish without setting a goal first. You have to set a roadmap to where it is that you want to go, what it is that you want to accomplish. If it is not set out, then you can easily be turned from right to left, or someone else can easily misguide you because you do not have a blueprint of what it is you want to accomplish. So setting that goal and then visualizing it is probably the 2 most important things that each and every person need to do in order to build themselves personally and to build themselves in terms of achieving your wealth. So basically, all these self-made millionaires and billionaires have to have gone through these processes in order to accomplish the things that they have accomplished in their life. And so what that basically means is that if they can do it because they're self-made, then you and I can achieve it also. So you want to start by visualizing. And basically what that means is getting inside of yourself, figuring out what is unique about you. What is it that's the gift that is within you? And you need to visualize. You need to build that from the inside and bring it to the material world. And then you want to meditate on that. And then you want to block out the rest of the world. And what that means is that you are not following what is going on. You're actually learning every day. What skills is it that you need to acquire in order to achieve that dream that you have? And then every single day, you have to make a list. What is it that I need to accomplish today in order to move myself further? And I'm looking at that roadmap that I have created. Once I have achieved one step, then I'm able to then cross that off and move to the next item on the list. So it's not a new phenomenon. It just basically take knowing what it is and being disciplined enough to follow the rules. Until next time, peace and love. Have a good day. Bye bye.